Hey, good morning, everybody. Uh, Welcome to Morning Tea with Tiffany. How's everybody doing this morning? Um, we're right at 8:15, and again, I apologize for being late again this morning. I think I'm going to move our morning teas to 8:15 because I recently just started walking in the mornings, and I'm noticing that it's kind of difficult for me to get back here to the house early enough to start the live at 8 o'clock. And so I think I'm going to move it to 8:15. So I'll put an announcement out there um, in the feed so everybody knows. Well, every morning we start with our morning prayer and then some announcements. So we'll go ahead and get started. Today's prayer: Lord, as we start this day, we trust in your unfailing love and promises of safety and protection. In Jesus' name, amen. And, as, time goes on, it's, this with this pandemic, it's just really, really, hitting us very hard. There are people dying and, people losing their jobs and, you know, losing income. And, this is really a difficult time that we're all dealing with right now. And we have to find ways to stay motivated and stay strong. And we have to, um, really sort of support each other, through this time, but also pay attention to what the medical professionals are telling us, with social distancing and, just really using common sense, to stay healthy because um, I think this thing has gone way far beyond than what any of us had really imagined that it would. And it's really hard right now. People are losing family members left and right, and even people who have a history of good health are suffering badly, and in some cases dying, over this pandemic. So this is very serious, and we really need to pay attention to that and just use precaution and common sense and and all that good stuff. I know I I saw on Pinterest and some other um, platforms that um, videos of people making masks, and I don't know, at what point, or if some of these things that they're doing are beneficial. I mean, it couldn't hurt, I guess, but I don't know that you know um, just covering your face with a scarf or a bandana or whatever the case may be is making a huge difference. But anything can help. So I'm going to start myself just covering my face, when I'm outside and when I go for these walks and stuff, because I just think it's probably the best thing to do. Um, Masks are, a scarcity right now. So I guess we have to turn to kind of making our own if that's what it comes down to. And they're fairly simple to make, from what I understand. Hair tie and some sort of a scarf, and fold it the right way, and you've got a mask. So I think I'm going to spend some time today with my kids trying to do that. So we have something at least, so when we're outside we can use precaution. So today, as far as announcements are concerned, um, we I have the homebuyer education class that's going on tonight from 7 to 9. The webinar last night on pivoting into telework was a success. We had a few people join us, and there were a few people who signed up for the class and actually didn't attend the class. So for those individuals who signed up and did pay their registration fee, I will be sending you an email with the recorded webinar, okay, because you did pay for it. So I want to make sure that you receive that information. So if you weren't able to jump on and you did purchase a ticket, I have your email and I will be sending you the recorded version of the webinar, probably at some point today. So I don't see anyone on the line this morning, and I'm worried that maybe it's because I started at 8:15. So anyway, I'm going to keep this short, and just talk about today's topic, which is, I thought would be a good one. It's thought-provoking questions. So I have quite a few thought-provoking questions, and I thought that I would throw them out there and people, could engage and tell me what they think about these things. But it doesn't look like I have too much of an audience today, so I'm just going to go through a couple of them and maybe speak to them myself. And these are things that they weren't, I didn't choose these questions. I mean, I did pre-choose them, but I didn't think about what my responses would be to the questions. Okay. So I just sort of said, oh, I think that's a good question to ask the group, and, and never really put any thought into what my response would be. So this is kind of impromptu, but I am just going to, um, ask the questions and see what, you think about it, and if you do join, or even later on in the live, or, on the replay, you can still put comments in the replay. So, if you have, a response to some of these questions, by all means, I always look at my comments afterwards. So I'm very interested to see what people might think. And I did want to say thank you. I know there's not a lot of people that really comment while I'm doing these lives, but I get a report that tells me the people who actually viewed and logged on for a few minutes just to sort of check it out. And I just want to say I appreciate you guys joining, even though you're not really participating. But still, thanks for showing some interest, because that's what really motivates me to continue to do this, every single day. And it's really hard to come up with a topic every single day of the week. So sometimes I struggle with that, but I think it's really important, even, those individuals who don't, are not able to join and participate, at least you take the time to sort of, you know, listen in at some point during the day. And, that tells me that at least you know, there's reason for me to get up and do this every morning. And I see that a lot of the people who join at some point during the day or watch the replay are some of the same people every single day, which I really appreciate. Thank you for, just thanks for the support. But if you are listening live, I really would like your participation today, because this is one of those lives that really does require, some feedback. So I don't want to be sitting here talking to myself for the next, 30 minutes or so. All right. So thought-provoking questions. The first one that I wrote down was, do you think that crying is a sign of weakness or a sign of strength? Okay. Do you think crying is a sign of weakness or a sign of strength? I think it's a sign of both. There are some instances where, you know, um, we are vulnerable and um, our strength sort of abandons us, at times. And, in a moment of weakness, we let out that emotion. So I don't think it's a sign of weakness in the sense of we have no strength, but I think, sometimes in moments of vulnerability or quote unquote weakness, crying can be a part of that, right? But I also think that crying is a sign of strength too, the ability or the strength to be vulnerable at times, when we need to be. And sometimes, our families or people that we're close to, people that we love, need us to be strong. But there are moments, in our lives where vulnerability is significant and needs to be a part of um, our emotions. So to me, crying can be a sign of both. It can be a sign of weakness, it can be a sign of strength. Okay, so if anybody's on the line out there and wants to comment on that, I'd love to hear what you have to say. But I don't see anyone right now. Okay, so question number 2: what would you do differently if you knew no one would judge you? What would you do differently if no one would judge you? Gosh, I don't even know. If no one would judge me, what things would I do differently? I think I'll have to think about that one because I nothing comes to mind right now because I pretty much, I wear my emotions and everything on my sleeve, and I'm pretty much wide open with everything that I do. So, you know, I don't really have a concern of judgment. Maybe with work, I do, you know, uh, what I've learned over time, with working for different companies and with different people, sometimes you have to hold things in, and I've learned that over time because I'm, type of person. I say, how I feel. I'm a very expressive person, and you know, and that sometimes has backfired on me. So sometimes it's best to say less. So I guess with this question, what would you do differently um, if you knew no one would judge you? Is I would probably, hey, good morning, Karen. Good morning. Today's topic is thought provoking questions, and I need participation. So I'm so glad that you joined this morning so you can conversate with me because I think it's just me and you right now. And before you, I was talking to myself. So the thought I have quite a few thought provoking questions here, and I need the audience to kind of engage with me. But question number 2, the question that I was just on, is what would you do differently if you knew nobody would be judging you? And I was just talking about how much of an expressive person that I've been. I don't really think about people judging me. I just kind of do what I do and say what I say, and I don't really worry about what others think. But um one of the things that I have, learned over time is sort of holding back um some of my feelings and thoughts and stuff because it's backfired on me, in different jobs that I've had. It's sometimes me being expressive and saying what's on my mind and sort of putting everything out there has placed a cap or a lid on my success in some instances, maybe even rub some people the wrong way. So I feel like if no one would judge me, I would just be wide open. Just, say what's on my mind and, you know, not look back. So if you um, can answer that question, Karen, that would be great. And I'm going to move on to the next question while I'm waiting for your response. So, question number 3 is, when you're 80 years old, what will matter to you the most? When you're 80 years old, what will matter to you the most? Okay, well, I have a grandmother in upstate New York who is still living, and she's 86. She just had her 86th birthday. So this year she'll be 87. And um and she's lived a great life, and um I'm hoping that she remains healthy, throughout this whole pandemic, but I hope that I can get to a point where um I'm 80, that I live, until I'm 80, and and be able to think about those things. But in the present right now, when I'm 80, what will matter to me most is just having my family around me, my children, you know, my husband, if we both make it to that point, um, or to that age, and just being surrounded by family and people who love me. I think that over, I've learned that being just turning 50, that your family is what's most important, beyond money, beyond material things, beyond all of that. We're in a time right now where, people are losing everything, including their lives, and in the grand scheme of things, like, you know, the mortgage being paid, and the car payments being made, and, the credit cards and all of that. I mean, does it really matter? I mean, people are dying every single day. And, I'm just happy that I'm healthy and my children are healthy. And I want to, you know, keep everybody healthy if we can, if it's God's will. So, um, at 80, what will matter to me most is the memories that I have with my family. You know, that's, I think, what matters to me most. Karen, I don't know. I don't see your comments. Maybe you're still writing. Not sure. I see the little bubbles up here, so it looks like you're writing, but I don't see anything. Okay. All right. So that was question number 3. Okay. Question number 4. When it's all said and done, will you have said more than what you have done? That's a really thought-provoking question. Okay. When it's all said and done, will you have said more than you have done? At this point, I say, yes, I will have said more than I have done. There are so many things right now. Like, if I died tomorrow, there are so many things that in my life that I want to do that I have not done. And so at this point in time, when it's all said and done, if I died tomorrow, you know, I will not have done everything that I want to do in life. And, you know, I, yeah, they're just things that I would love to do, and that I've not had the chance to do, or I've, chosen, made some other things priorities that really don't, probably, shouldn't even be on my priority list. So, um, the answer to that question is yes, I will have said more than I have done, but it's not too late to change that, So maybe after I get off this live, I'll start thinking about those things that I really want to do, and put a plan in action to execute them. Who knows? So that is the answer to my question. I see, Karen, that you did put a comment in here. So let me read it. So the question was number two, what would you do different if you knew no one would judge you? And you said, yes, ma'am. Usually I don't let others inhibit me. However, every now and then you get that shoulder tap to remind you that others will try to check you. Amen to that, sister. But as long as God is good, so am I. All right, he's got our back. And yes, he does. He does. I think about that all the time. In my life, um, I have experienced a lot of, you know, significant events that have sort of, pushed us back. Every time the market takes a hit, like, I'm in the mortgage industry, so every time there's the market takes a turn for the worse, I get, um, I'm laid off, I'm furloughed, I'm unemployed for a while, just so many different things. But when I think about everything, every single time, and I've been laid off quite a few times, because of all of this stuff in my 30-year career. Every single time I come out of it without a scratch. Every single time. Don't miss a beat. Still have my house, still have everything that, you know, I've, my husband and I have built over the course of time. And yes, do we stumble and fall, and is it stressful during that time? Absolutely. Do we think, sometimes do we lose sight of who God is and what he can do for us? Absolutely. We're human. That happens. But he has just never failed us ever. And so the approach that I'm taking here now is that, you know, um, we've come this far by faith. If you guys are familiar with that song, the gospel song, we've come this far by faith. He's never failed me yet. That's pretty much what I think. So I'm not going to stress this pandemic. But yes, Karen, I am with you, girl. I am with you. Okay. So, and not, okay, wait, hold on. All right. So when you're 80, you hope to look as fabulous as your 80-year-old mom. I tell you, I feel the same way. My grandmother looks so good. I'm going to post a picture later that my mom sent me of my grandmother, and she is just beautiful and flawless, at 87. So on this feed, after we're done, I'm going to post a picture. And Karen, I would love for you to post a picture of your mom as well. Um, and let's celebrate our beautiful, moms and grandmoms. I think that's awesome. Okay, and not only that, you feel great, continue serving others and enjoying life. Yes, yes, amen. All right, so, okay, number five. I can't read my own writing. If the average human lifespan was 50, how would you have lived life differently? So for me, I am 50, but you know, if you're older or younger, doesn't matter. If your lifespan ended at the age of 50, how would you have lived your life differently? Well, I think I answered that question in one of the other previous questions, and that is, I'm passionate about so many things. So, but I have a career and I have a family and I have, all of these life pressures that sort of, hit us and sort of take us out of our element. So, um, if my lifespan ended at 50, I probably would have done more and seen more. I love to travel, and I love, my friend Veronica will probably attest to this. And V, I haven't seen you on the lives. I think you watch the replays because I see your name sometimes. But um, one of the things we share the same birthday, but she's a year older than me. And one of the things that she's always said about me in particular is that, the spontaneity. Like I have big dreams, big visions, big ideas about everything. And every once in a while I'm just like, let's just do it. Like, let's just do it. Why not? And so she and I have, we do this girls trip every year and we haven't been in a few years because of life and circumstances. So, I'm going to get back to my girls trip with my girlfriend. Okay. That's one of the things that, I, would have done differently is, continuing always to, do the things that make me happy. And that was one of the things that made me happy. Um, but I would live life more spontaneously without fear, I guess. Karen says, feast or famine, with your sister in the biz. Yeah. Real estate, your sister's in real estate. You've learned not to spend every dime that you make, set aside for the lean times or financial, cycles, plus increase your income streams. Yes, that is absolutely right. We can't live, it's, there's a fine line because in one sentence we say, hey, we want to just live life to its fullest because, tomorrow's not promised to us. But, you know, there has to be some balance, I guess. And, especially in times like this, where incomes being, reduced drastically and, people are struggling. But I still feel, Karen, I agree with you 100%, but I still feel that at the end of the day, you know, your credit can be fixed. Okay. As long as you have shelter, food, and family, I mean, don't sweat the small stuff, I've spent a good part of my life because my income streams have, been on a roller coaster. I'm down, I'm way up, then I'm mid-range, then I'm down again, and then I'm, mid-range and then up again. I mean, it's just over the course of time, it's been crazy. We've been on a financial roller coaster. Um, because of the business that I chose to be in. When times are good, they're great. When times are bad, they're really bad. So, but I've learned over time that, you know, as long as we have our family and as long as we have each other and, we can at least provide the bare necessities that we need, then everything else, you know, the world goes around in cycles, right? So there's going to be a time when things are going to be better again. And we just have to look forward to those times and just try to, tread water while we do. Um, so that's right, Karen. Walk by faith. And over time, everything's going to work itself out, and I try not to stress over those things. I really do, I have a great credit score now, but with the market being what it is, who knows what's going to happen to it? We don't know what our income streams are going to be. We don't know how, any of this is going to, work out. So, we just have to tread water and, pray and have faith and just see where it goes. So, um, that was question number 5. Question number 6. What's something what's something you do differently than most people? Okay. What is something that that you do differently than most people? I'm going to say, what do I do differently than most people? Hmm. Um, I'm going to say my self-awareness, at least for the people that I'm around. I tend to think about the feelings of others, and I tend to process, I'm a forward thinker, okay, and a forward thinker in just about everything that I do. So whether it's, I'm in a conversation with someone and I'm about to express how I feel, and I pause for a second. If you notice, I pause a lot when I'm speaking, and I look up in the air when I do that too. And the reason for that is because I'm thinking in my mind how what I'm going to say is going to affect the person or people that I'm saying it to. So I have a high sense of self-awareness, and um I don't think that other people or many people do. People just kind of say things and do things, and they're inconsiderate of others, feelings, and they think about those things in hindsight, but not in foresight. And I feel like I think about those things ahead of time, um, and the things I say and the things I do are based on, that thought process. So that's something that I feel like I do differently than most people. Karen, I don't see your response in there yet, so we'll move on to the next question, and then I'll go back to your response. Number 7, if you could instill one piece of advice in a newborn baby's mind, what advice would you give? I'll read that again. If you could instill one piece of advice in a newborn baby's mind, what advice would you give? I really like this question. And my answer is going to be fearless. When babies are born and toddlers start walking, they are fearless. They, in their little minds, feel like they can do anything, conquer the world, in that little brain of theirs, so they are not influenced by the outside factors yet, and it's us as, parents and guardians, and the people who love them the most, who somewhat instill that fear in them, and it goes, far beyond just, I remember my I can't remember which kid it was of mine. Maybe it was Tommy, I'm not sure. But I remember one day I was outside, and one of the kids was playing with a ball or something, and the ball rolled into the street. And I was like, I almost busted my tail, like grabbing my son or daughter, whoever it was at the time, I can't remember, almost killed myself, grabbing them because they were just running and not paying attention to anything, you know, um, that could be coming at them. And so, as in that instance, obviously, as a parent, or, someone who, you love your children, your kids, any kid, you're going to do what you can to save them. But sometimes we do that to a fault, that we want to protect our children and the people that we love so much that we suffocate them, and we instill the fear of failure, so a lot of times we don't um, perform to our fullest potential because of fear. So if there's something that I could instill in a newborn baby's mind, it would be fearless. Be fearless. That's me. That's what I would say. All right. Um Number 8. What is the most desirable trait another person can possess? What is the most desirable trait another person can possess? Um, hmm. Another, what is a desirable trait another person can possess? There's lots of things. I'm going to say generosity, maybe. giving of yourself, not just, giving materialistic things, but giving yourself, whether that be your emotions, an ear, lending an ear, um, sacrificing, yourself for the good of others, um, yeah, I'd say giving or having a giving heart and a forgiving heart. That's a good one. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. That's probably the most desirable trait. And the reason for that is because that's the hardest thing. Sometimes it's easy for us to give things, but it's really hard for us to forgive. Okay, so that's going to be my answer, forgiveness. Okay, what are you most grateful for? Number 9, what are you most grateful for? I am most grateful for my family. My family is what I'm most grateful for. My children, my kids are like my world. And, and I'm so grateful. And, here's the thing, I'll share something, kind of personal with you all. And that is, when I first started, I had my first child, and my second child. I went through a postpartum, like severe depression. And I just didn't think that I was so career oriented, I guess, is that the word? Um, that I really did not feel like I was going to be a good mom. I wanted to be a mom, but I didn't feel like I was going to be a good one. Um, and so I questioned my ability, um, to be a good mom. And, but God granted me with 3 children anyway, even though I didn't think that I would be the best mom. I knew my husband was going to be a good dad because his, family was and is, all that he's about, family, everything revolves around family, which is a good trait. So I knew that he was going to be an excellent dad, but I did not think that, I could, live up to the expectation of, parenthood. And I think I shared with you guys that, in the beginning, I really was, into my career and all that came with that. That's what I deemed to be successful, is making money and providing for the family and all of that, but didn't place a huge value on, being a mom or a parent. And, when, in 2008, when the market crashed and I was unemployed and we didn't have no money and we had nothing but each other. That's when I really began to turn the corner and understand the value of, um, family and my children and, all the joy that comes with that, the amount of satisfaction that you get from just being, a parent, a mom. So for me, I'm most grateful for my children, my family. Karen, I see anything? You're still writing. Okay, so I will check back in just a second. Let's go to number 10. What has life taught you recently? What has life taught you recently? Because of what's happening with this pandemic, um, life has taught me that we're not promised tomorrow. So we have to do things that, leave us with no regret, no regrets because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So live each day as if there was no tomorrow. And that's becoming more and more, magnified in my life right now. I just want to go out and conquer the world because who knows, and there's so many things I haven't done and things that I want to do with my kids. I really want to go to Africa. I really do. I want to go to Africa so bad that you know, I just, that's one of the places that I want to see. I want to do an African safari. Um, and I keep saying, okay, we don't have the time, we don't have the money, we got, kids are in school. I want to do that with my family. And so, I don't want to take things for granted. Like, there's always going to be an opportunity because there may not be. So, life has taught me that, you know, tomorrow may not come. So we have to live today as if there's no tomorrow. That's how I answer that question. All right. So number 11, describe life in a 6-word sentence. Wow. I told you I didn't really, look at these questions or try to answer them beforehand. So everything that I'm doing and saying today is impromptu. So this one's going to be a tough one. I'm probably going to have to use a pen to write some things down. So, um, describe a describe life in a 6-word sentence. Um, in a 6-word sentence. Life in a 6-word sentence. I might have to come back to that, guys. I might have to answer that one tomorrow. That might be the first thing that we talk about tomorrow. But if for those of you who are on, if you can think about that, um, put that in your comments, because right now I can't I don't have an answer for that. Surprisingly, right? Because I have an answer for everything. I can sit here and talk on these lives all day long and have something to say, but I got to put some thought into that. So I'm going to skip that one for right now. But I want you guys to think about that as well. Okay. Number 12. If we learn from one's mistakes, why are we so afraid to make a mistake? Hmm, that is pretty thought provoking. If we learn from our mistakes, why are we so afraid to make a mistake? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, because, I think about Kobe Bryant when I think about questions like this, because, he was a person who, you know, forced himself and others to face their fears. And a lot of times when we make a mistake, we tend to run from those things. I remember seeing something when I was sort of, looking at Kobe Bryant's life, and I was in awe of so many things that he's done. Because I'll be honest, I wasn't a fan beforehand, but not because I didn't think Kobe was a great basketball player or a great person. I just didn't, you know, I just didn't pay attention, to, what he contributed to everyone until he passed away. And at that point, I found out, like, how wonderful and great of a person he was, and how many people just loved him, and rightfully so. Like, he was an amazing person, and even though his life was taken from him, very, very early, he put his best foot forward, and he lived a full life, which is why he wasn't afraid of death. And I mean, there's just so many things I could say, because he was amazing. And I know why people loved him the way that they did. But, um, you know, in regards to that, making mistakes, I remember seeing something where Kobe was talking to a basketball player. She was um, I think she was going to a D1 or played for a D1. I can't remember what school it was. And they were going against this huge opponent, and they lost. the game. And I wish I had more details, guys. I'm sorry, but I remember. I don't remember the details, but I remember what it did for me or what I thought about it. And so, you know, the young girl didn't want to watch the game that they had lost. She was like, I don't want to look at that. And Kobe said to her, you have to sit down and you have to watch this tape because you have to, in order to grow from this and to get better from this. And this is what I took from it. Okay. I'm probably messing this all up and I'm sorry, Kobe, for not getting it right. But what I took from that is that in order to get better, you have to go back and face those things that that brought failure upon you. You have to go back and you have to look at it and you have to embrace the failure in order to grow and learn. So if we learn from our mistakes, why are we so afraid to make a mistake? It goes back to just being fearless. Just a mistake is a mistake, but we have to make them in order to learn from them. So people need to understand that. I don't know why. I can't answer the question. I don't know why we're afraid to make a mistake. Um, maybe that's something that somebody can put in, if you have an answer to that. I just know that that fear just overtakes us sometimes, and we can't reach our fullest potential because we're afraid of failure. And if we take ourselves out of that equation, like truly take ourselves out of the equation and say, and look at it from a sense of failure as an opportunity for another opportunity for me to be successful, for me to grow. Because if you're successful in everything that you do, every time that you do it, then what do you have to look forward to? What do you have, you know, if everything is great, it doesn't motivate us to be better and to do more and to be more. So I don't quite understand why um, we're afraid to make mistakes. I really don't. But if someone has an answer to that, please put it in the chat. I'd be curious to hear what you think. All right. So Karen says life is a journey of discovery. Yes, it is. And I wish most people, thought about it that way, because if we did, then that would take away a lot of our fear, right? If we looked at everything from, man, I just want to explore this and see like what would happen, or what am I going to discover by not being fearful? You know, how am I going to grow? I think, the world would be definitely a better place. Okay, so number 13, what is the most defining moment in your life thus far? The most defining moment in my life thus far. Defining moment. I know when my life took a turn. I know when I lost my job in 2008. I was in a different place, in my life. I was really career oriented and wanted to climb that ladder of success. And then when I lost my job for a long time, and it forced me to look at what I had at home, with my family and my children and the things that I missed because I was so focused on, you know, what I thought success was, which was from a materialistic perspective. Um, when I lost my job, that was a defining moment for me because I took that opportunity, and I think it was just a blessing from God anyway, but I took that opportunity to really sort of dive into my family and spend time with my kids. I think I shared with you guys I ended up being the team mom for like all my kids' softball and baseball teams. I was like team mom extraordinaire, and put all of my efforts or all of the organizational skills and everything that made me so successful in business. I sort of transferred those skills into being a mom. Um, and it was fun, and it just changed my whole perspective on life. My personal relationship was better. My relationship with my children were better, and life just all of a sudden opened up for me, a whole new world of discovery, and that was a good thing. So I'm going to say that that's probably the defining moment in my life. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with that. There's probably others, but that's the one that really sticks out for me. Karen says, we don't like egg on our face, embarrassment. However, failure means that you're taking action. Action means that you can learn from the failures and make progress. Yes, I agree, Karen. That is that's exactly, how I feel. We have to fail, and make mistakes in order to make progress. Okay, we got to, and we have to figure out what we did, what caused us to make that mistake, and what can we do better? What can we improve upon? So that we don't make the same mistake again. So I agree with you 100%. When I told my son I was going to leave Job Corps and run youth earn and learn jobs for kids full time again, she puts in all caps, he objected at first, and I talked through his objections, and he reached in his pocket and pulled out all the money that he had, and he invested. What a great story in our relaunch. Wow. So, Karen, I'm curious because you said he objected at first and you talked him through his objections. And then whatever you said made him think, okay, I'm putting it all on the line to support my mom. So I am curious, and we can talk about this offline if you want. You don't have to put it in the live, but I want to know what you said to him that made him, switch, flip the switch, and put it all on the line for you. I'm very curious about that. So I want to hear that story. I really do. Okay, number 14. This is the last one, guys. What's one thing you'd like others to remember about you at the end of your life? What is one thing you'd like others to remember about you at the end of your life? So, um, if I was a fly on the wall at my funeral or memorial service, um, one thing that I want others to remember, I want people to remember how, in whatever way that I may have touched someone's life, whether it be from an emotional perspective, just being positive, just being encouraging, because I really try very hard. I always, my entire life, have put other people before myself. I share my thoughts. I share, my um, talents and my skills. My whole world is around helping other people be successful, even if that's to the detriment of me. I give beyond giving, and it's mainly giving of myself. So there's a lot of people who have been very successful, by, stepping on or over me to be successful. And it's okay. I mean, I'm not even angry about it, but and in fact, I'm not happy that, I had to work really hard to get to, some of the places that I've been in my life from a success perspective. But I, I'm not angry about or upset about, other people using, my knowledge, my talents, and, things that I have to offer to propel themselves. I don't have any hard feelings about that. And I think, that's something to be remembered, and I'm happy to play a small part, contribute a small part to someone else's success. That's what makes me happy. So if I one thing that I would like others to remember about me is I'm selfless. Not selfish, but selfless. Okay, that's probably the one thing that I'd remember. Like, just, remember how you got to, where you are, and, who the people are that helped you get there, and that they've made sacrifices themselves, to help you be successful. And, you know, just remember that. That's that's what I think anyway. That's my thing. Um so Karen, are you still there, dear? I don't see your comments, but I hope that you continue to make comments so we can, see. But anyway, guys, so those are my 14 questions, thought-provoking questions. The homework tonight, or the task that I assign to you, is what was that question that we need? What is the most desirable trait another person could know? What was our question, guys, that I said I needed to think about? Oh, darn it. I'll have to watch the live again just so I remember the question. I should have circled it. Um, Oh, number 11. I got it. Describe life in a 6-word sentence. So that's the homework assignment. That's what I task you and myself with um, on this live. Okay. And so tomorrow when we join, and I'm changing the live time to 8:15, just because that'll give me enough time to have my walk in the morning. Um, so the question that I want you to come back with tomorrow that we're going to talk about is describe life in a 6-word sentence. Okay. So those of you who are not with us live but are going to watch this on the replay, I want you to come to the table with that tomorrow, or at least put some comments in the live feed once you watch on the replay. All right. So thank you. Those of you who are joining but did not comment, I appreciate you being here. Let's try and work on becoming more engaged in the conversation. And then to my faithful friend Karen, who shows up every day for me, thank you so much, and thank you for your contribution to the discussion. And I look forward to seeing your answer to number 11. All right. Thanks again, everybody. I appreciate you joining today. I thought this was a great session. And I will chat with you tomorrow at 8:15. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.